Highly processed foods hijack our dopamine system. You get a rush, then a crash, and suddenly you're reaching for another fix. And for many of us, especially if you're neurodivergent, highly sensitive, or have trauma in your story, food becomes a way to regulate emotions. But here's the good news: when you stabilize your blood sugar, feed your brain with whole foods, and nourish your gut, those cravings start to fade and emotional regulation gets easier. Are you feeling anxious, overwhelmed, or emotionally drained despite doing everything right? What if I told you your brain fog, your mood swings, even anxiety might be connected to what's on your plate? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the powerful, often ignored link between food and your mental and emotional health. Welcome to the Butterfly Event podcast, where we dive deep into emotional resilience, healing, and transformation. I'm Heather Hewitt, double board certified naturopath, clinical nutritionist, also somatic trauma therapy certified, and someone who's lived through the food mood roller coaster. In today's episode, we're exploring how what you eat is literally shaping how you feel emotionally, mentally, and energetically. This might just change the way you think about your cravings, fatigue, or emotional triggers forever. Well, let's talk about the brain gut connection. Did you know that the brain and gut are best friends? And it's also been called, the gut has been called your second brain. Over 90% of your serotonin, the feel good, happy hormone or mood balancing chemical, is produced in your gut, not your brain. That's right, in your gut. That means if your gut is inflamed, sluggish, or imbalanced due to sugar, ultra processed food, or poor digestion, and I want to say refined sugar, just not any sugar, your emotions will feel off. You might feel more irritable, reactive, or even depressed and not know why. Researchers now call this the gut-brain axis. And it's biology, it's science, and it's why changing your food can change your emotional baseline. Nutritional deficiencies can equal emotional deficits. Do you feel like no matter what you do, as far as doing the work or your inner work, but you're still struggling? Sometimes the missing piece isn't mindset or willpower. It's could be minerals, could be vitamin deficiency, could be some type of nutrient deficiency. Take, for instance, some of these examples like low magnesium. If you're not eating enough greens, leafy greens every day, getting in enough vegetables, you may feel anxious. And then maybe low B12 or iron, you might feel flat, fatigued, or even like you're losing your joy. Then maybe you're not getting enough omega-3. That could actually cause problems with mood instability, fog, or irritability can sneak in. When your body is undernourished, it's like trying to build emotional resilience or an emotional resilience house with no bricks. Your brain literally can't regulate stress, make neurotransmitters, or recover from emotional lows without the right food. Well, emotional eating is a challenge, but it's not the only challenge. It's normally a signal. I used to think that my binge eating and cravings were signs that I was broken, had low willpower, undisciplined. Now I understand they were just signals or messengers from my body. Signals that my body was starved for nutrition and my heart was starved for comfort. Highly processed foods hijack our dopamine system. You get a rush, then a crash, and suddenly you're reaching for another fix. And for many of us, especially if you're neurodivergent, highly sensitive, or have trauma in your story, food becomes a way to regulate emotions. But here's the good news: when you stabilize your blood sugar, feed your brain with whole foods, and nourish your gut, those cravings start to fade and emotional regulation gets easier. Well, here's a real story. I've seen this shift everything for myself and my clients. One woman who struggled with mood swings for years ate mostly plants, added magnesium, stabilized her meal times, and within weeks, she felt a calm she hadn't known in decades. Another began her day with a protein rich breakfast, and suddenly her afternoon anxiety attacks stopped. Not because of a miracle, not because of placebo, but because her brain finally had what it needed. This isn't about perfection, it's about power. The power to support your emotions from the inside out. Well, if this episode opened your eyes to the emotional impact of what you eat, don't stop here. Subscribe for more mind body nutrition episodes. Leave a comment. What food habit do you think is affecting your emotional health the most? And share this with someone who needs this knowledge today. And if you want personal support in reconnecting to your body, regulating your emotions, and healing from the inside out, check the link in the description. I'd love to support you. Your food is more than fuel, it's feedback. And when you start to listen, you'll find your strength again. Thanks for tuning in to the Butterfly Event Podcast. I'll see you in the next episode.